you ever spent hours replaying one awkward moment in your head? Maybe you said something that sounded strange. Maybe someone didn't reply to your message. Or maybe you walked into a room and suddenly felt like everyone was judging you. It feels incredibly real. But here's something surprising. Most people aren't thinking about you nearly as much as you think they are. Psychologists even have a name for this. It's called the spotlight effect. We naturally assume that other people notice and remember our mistakes far more than they actually do. In one famous experiment, researchers asked people to wear an embarrassing t-shirt into a room full of strangers. The participants believed that almost everyone noticed what they were wearing. In reality, only a small portion of people even remembered the shirt. Why? Because everyone else was busy thinking about themselves. Think about the last time you saw someone trip while walking. You probably noticed it for a few seconds. Then you went back to thinking about your own life. But if you were the person who tripped, you might remember that moment for weeks. That's how our brains work. We experience life from our own perspective, so we naturally overestimate how much attention everyone else is paying to us. But there's another reason we worry so much about other people's opinions. Thousands of years ago, being accepted by your group wasn't just nice. It was necessary for survival. Humans lived in small tribes. Being rejected could mean losing protection, food, or support. Your brain still carries some of that ancient programming today. That's why criticism can feel surprisingly painful. It's not because you're weak. It's because your brain evolved to treat social rejection as something important. The problem is that modern life is completely different. A stranger's opinion usually has no real impact on your future. Yet your brain often reacts as if it does. And social media makes this even worse. Hundreds or even thousands of people can instantly react to something you post. Our brains never evolved to handle that many opinions at once, so every comment can feel more important than it really is. Here's another question. How often do you judge other people as harshly as you judge yourself? Probably not very often. When someone pauses during a presentation, you usually don't think they're a failure. When someone stumbles over a word, you don't spend the rest of the day laughing about it. You simply move on. Other people often do exactly the same thing with your mistakes. There's also something called the illusion of transparency. We tend to believe that our nervousness, insecurity, or embarrassment is obvious to everyone around us. But research shows that people are actually much worse at detecting those feelings than we imagine. Your racing heart is real. Your sweaty palms are real. But most people can't see what's happening inside your mind. That means you often look much calmer than you feel. So how do you stop caring so much? Not by trying to stop caring completely. That isn't realistic. Instead, ask yourself one simple question. Will this matter a year from now? Most of the time, the answer is no. Another helpful habit is to shift your attention outward. When you're constantly monitoring yourself, every tiny mistake feels huge. But when you're focused on the conversation, the task, or the person in front of you, there's much less mental space for self-conscious thoughts. This is one reason confident people often seem so relaxed. They're not constantly analyzing themselves. They're paying attention to what's happening around them. It's also worth remembering that people don't all share the same opinion. No matter what you do, some people will like you, some won't, and many simply won't care. Trying to please everyone is impossible because different people want completely different things. If one person thinks you're too quiet, another may appreciate that you're a good listener. If one person thinks you're too ambitious, someone else may admire your drive. Whose opinion should matter more? The answer depends on whether that person truly knows you and wants the best for you. Constructive feedback from people you trust can help you grow. Random judgment from strangers usually doesn't deserve the same amount of attention. The truth is that every minute you spend worrying about what everyone thinks is a minute, you aren't fully living your own life. The people who seem the most confident aren't necessarily fearless. They've simply accepted something that everyone eventually has to learn. No matter what you do, someone will disagree with you, someone will misunderstand you, someone won't like you, and that's perfectly normal. Because freedom doesn't begin when everyone approves of you, it begins when you realize they never needed to.